Welcome to the Snug Life in Bethel, Alaska. My name is Brian.
And I'm Kelsey.
Welcome to the Snug Life.
We recently moved to Bethel, Alaska, but prior to doing so, we searched all over the internet for anything that could help us transition to rural Alaska.
Now, unfortunately, there's not a whole lot on the internet, so we went in completely blind so that you don't have to.
We put together a list of what we wish we had known in preparing to transition to Bethel. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sounds good. Perfect.
So something that we really wish we had known coming to Bethel was the internet and cell coverage situation. Internet obviously is important for many reasons, one being communicating with your family, having access to ordering goods through Amazon or Target or Walmart, as well as being able to kind of navigate yourself around Bethel.
So I came here with Mint Mobile and there was absolutely no coverage whatsoever, no cell service, nothing. When I was here, I switched over to Google Fi because Google Fi said that there was some coverage in Bethel, and that was completely wrong.
I came here with Verizon, and while I did have some coverage, it was only the extended network coverage, so I couldn't access any browsers to gain access to the internet. I couldn't send iMessages on my iPhone. I could only do phone calls, and it was kind of spotty, and then SMS text messages. So it was definitely a very, very limited service.
So when we say to trust us, only go with AT&T or GCI. We trust us.
So for those of you wondering what GCI is, it is actually a local provider here in Bethel. I think my understanding is the state of Alaska as well. I signed up for it and I got a pretty good deal, promotion that gave me 90 days free service, and I just paid the startup costs and a prorate for in-between billing sessions. So it's been pretty good so far. I've heard that if you're on a phone call and you are receiving another phone call that it can drop, but I haven't experienced that just yet, so I'll try to kind of keep everybody updated on the GCI service experience. Now the great thing about GCI is this, like it being a local option, is there is actually a store in Bethel at the Alaska Commercial Company building. So you're able to get pretty quick and easy service, I think.
Yeah, most people get super frustrated when they have to sit on the phone with a cell phone provider and them just kind of ignoring your problems, but when you can actually go into a store,
makes it that much easier.
Right. I've also heard too that GCI works a lot better than AT&T in the villages. And depending on what you're going to be doing here when you move here, it's possible there's some jobs where you have to go out into the villages a lot, and GCI might be the better option for that. But the downside is that if you're doing a lot of traveling outside of Alaska, I've heard that service is definitely not as good. But I went with AT&T, which is fine. I wish I would have gotten it set up before I came here, because then I could have gone into a store and had someone help me along with stuff. So being limited to the phones and also shipping trade-ins and stuff is just, I don't want to do that again. I'd rather just wait. But AT&T obviously has it obviously has the plus of that it's nationwide coverage and also international coverage, which is helpful for when you're traveling. I think that the speeds are pretty good, the calls don't drop too much, so I guess it really just depends on what you're looking for.
What about internet? So you don't have to do what we did and go So you don't have to do what we did and go a month without internet. There are a couple of options when it comes to having access to internet at home or wherever you're staying. One of those options is Starlink and the other is GCI. Yes, they also provide internet.
Yeah, so Starlink seems to be at least becoming the most popular option here in Bethel. So basically, if you don't know how it works, you get internet from satellites or something, so you need to buy a dish. And Starlink has a little bit more expensive of an upfront cost because you have to buy that dish. We got ours on sale for $300, but normally it's $500. So Starlink has unlimited data, which is really important because in Bethel, in case you're not aware, winters are cold and dark, and you're going to be spending a lot of time inside watching Netflix and just using your internet. So that unlimited data is super important. The speeds are also good. We really don't have any issues with the streaming that we do or gaming or anything. So it's a good, I think, relatively cheap option. And so the other option is GCI.
Yeah, now with GCI, it's probably a little quicker to get internet access because it is something that is local to Bethel. And it is a cheaper startup cost from my understanding. However, I've heard from several people around town that it can get pretty expensive. So make sure that you read the fine print if you decide to go with the seemingly cheaper option. Starlink is probably the more responsible long-term option for your money, but if you're only going to be here for a short amount of time and you don't think that you're going to use that much internet at home, GCI might be the way to go. Be careful, because what I've heard is they charge, like, it's unlimited, but it slows down, like incredibly slows down, and you can buy more data buckets, but I've heard of people's bills getting up to like $400 a month for internet, so do be wary of that.
And one local pro tip, if you do decide to go with Starlink, is when we got here and we put in an order for the dish, it said that our area was at capacity because we were putting a deposit down for the residential plan, and we had to put a deposit down because we were on a wait list to get the dish. But a local pro tip I heard was that if you switch to the roaming plan, which is a little more expensive, it's $150 a month, you'll be able to get your dish immediately. And I don't know what the process is like for switching it over to residential if you want to go for the cheaper option at a later point. I'm sure the speeds are the same, so what I will say is take it with a grain of salt, because I don't know if you're going to be stuck in that more expensive plan, but if you want internet quickly, that's one way to go about doing that.
As I mentioned before, we went a month without internet in our house. So what we did is there are several places around town that you can hang out at or get quick internet access to order your Starlink or what have you, make your Amazon purchases. So a couple of places around town, one of them is the library. The library is really great. It's free, but obviously you got to be respectful of the people in the library and you don't want to loiter too long. But other than the library,
so the library is a good spot, but the hours are pretty limited. Like, it's closed Sundays, so if you're on a Sunday, it might be tough. But another place that is open every day is the cafeteria at the hospital. It might be a good idea to purchase something if you're going to be hanging out there, but we've heard that that's a place that you can get internet. Another one is the fitness center. That's what we use a lot.
So the fitness center is, I think it's not necessarily free, but you pay a day pass is $8 normally, and I think is it Saturdays that are half price.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a permanent thing, but at least right now it's half off. Yeah.
So, but it is $8 for the day pass, and then you have access to the pool or the fitness center as well as the Wi-Fi there. So it's kind of nice to go hang out and sit in the hot tub and just relax a little bit while you use a little internet. But after the fitness center is probably
Wells
Fargo, but not recommended to loiter around in that building. It's probably something that you want to do, like you need quick access to something, and then you can kind of move along from there.
Yeah, so those are the internet options if you're desperate and you need internet, you don't have cell service.
That is all we've got for covering internet and cell service stuff. So if you have any questions or just are curious about life in Bethel, Alaska, just leave a comment or send us a message, and if we don't already know or we don't know too much, we'll definitely ask around and get an answer for you.
Thanks for listening.
Bye!